Hello everybody, I'm Caden and we are Adventures of a Stormtrooper, and come along on our adventure as we make ourselves a custom Chewbacca baseball cap.
Pew pew! Pew pew! Pew pew!
Alright, so these are the materials that I have selected to start making my Chewbacca homemade hat, because I am unsatisfied with any of the hats that I have found online, so I thought I'd make my own. And I got all this actually mostly on Amazon. I got this brown cap on Amazon. I actually got this fur at Hobby Lobby because the brown that I ordered on Amazon ended up being this color brown, and it's the wrong color for Chewbacca. Chewbacca is a honey brown, and you can find this at Hobby Lobby. It was only $2 for each sheet, and I bought 3 sheets, which ended up being enough to probably make 2 hats. So I wasn't sure. My mom is the one that sews, so I bought her extra, and they were only $2, and I think it was like $2.70 a piece for each sheet. And then I found this strip of leather. It's a 1-inch strip of leather that's 72 inches long, and it was only $16. And I will put all of the items in the description, so if you wish to use the exact same things. And it's actually a really nice soft leather. And it came in this really nice little bag, so whoever makes this, I wonder if they have like a whole leather factory, and this is maybe off the corners that they can. And then I had some aluminum 1-inch. It's just a 1-inch strip of aluminum that I cut into the individual bandolier belt boxes. So you'll have the bigger belt boxes, and then you have the smaller ones, and then you alternate. So you just had to cut. So I cut them, and then I took the Dremel and I rounded them on the corners. And no one wanted to watch that because that was a messy, hot process. And then I just took a little sandpaper and I just sanded off the edges so it wouldn't damage the leather. And then we have, diameter-wise for our rivets, is 7 millimeter, not inch. Holy man, that would be huge. 7 millimeter head rivets. And then my mom had a button that we're going to put on top to replace this cap. So what we did is my mom made a pattern.
And I did use all 3 because of the grain going the right way.
Oh, she did use all 3 for the grain, so the hair sat the right way. So she made a pattern out of the triangles of the hat itself, so that matches, so it fit on top of the hat. So that way it would fit. So we're essentially making a cap cover. Then she sewed them together. So we take the pattern and she sewed it. You leave a quarter-inch edge, correct?
Mm-hmm.
So she left a quarter-inch edge, matched the grains, and sewed them together. Which this is way fancier than what I was going to do. I was going to hot glue everything together. So Mom saved the day. Look how nice that looks. Now watch this. This is pretty funny. We're going to give her a trim at the end here.
Cousin It.
It's not Cousin It, it's Cousin Chewie. So that's what we got. And then we put the button on top because I thought it looks a little more complete with the button on top, I think. So that's what we have so far. And now I'm started to construct the bandolier. So I took just the 1-inch strip of leather is the entire width of the bandolier. And then we just did 3/4 of an for the width, 3/8 of an inch. We cut the strip. So we just took this and used the round cutting pizza
Rotary cutter.
the rotary cutter. It looks like a pizza cutter for sewing, and cut the 1-inch strip of leather into 3/8. And that is what we decided looked the best. And now I can show you the process of how I'm putting these on here now that I started from the center. So I marked, this was my center one. I've marked the center and I'm working my way out. So if I didn't cut enough of these, at least I have an even spot. Because if it goes too much towards the back, we're going to leave a little bit of an end on the end. Just like Chewie's bandolier has ends that like we can cut and taper if I run out of my little boxes. But I ended up cutting 8 of the wide ones and 7 of the little ones, and that's how I spaced them apart. And it ended up being like these are twice as big as these. My measurements were really funky, and I was trying to base it off of my real bandolier, and I was trying to do math and dividing, and this is what I came up with. Millimeter wise, I can tell you here in the next clip once I measure them out, but this is what I came up with so far. So I'll show you how I'm putting these together, and maybe we'll time lapse a little bit. So now in my pattern, I have the smaller belt box. Now we're going to use the bigger one to hold it in place so it doesn't slip through. I've just been using a little bit of super glue. Sorry to any leather workers that might know a better glue to use, but this is honestly my first time leather working, so if you're a professional leather worker, you can shake your head, it's okay. I will not be offended. So we're just using a little super glue to hold the belt in place while I poke the holes, and then a little super glue to keep the what you would call the band over the top. And then all I'm going to do is it's just a belt punch. You can actually buy not as pretty of a belt punch. Mine has got red handles with a silver. You can get them at Hobby Lobby. They're under or around $10, so they're not an expensive tool. Also really helpful if you're costuming and you have a belt. I've modified many of Lindsay's belts. Centering it in the belt, putting it a little bit away so the rivet head isn't too close to the belt box. Give her a good squeeze. We're going to take our little rivet and we'll shove the stem side through the front. And then we'll take the little leather plug off. Put our cap on. I'm not gonna lie, the first one I did of these, there was much bad words said. I have the little die that you use to kind of pound the two heads of the rivet together. We were gonna use my mom's rivet setting machine, but it was making too much creases on the leather and I didn't like the way it looked. So we're doing the old-fashioned things that come with so you don't have to have a fancy rivet press, just a hammer and a little impactor. That's the right word. Give it a good punch, and that's all to do. And then we'll just keep going down the line until I run out of belt boxes here, or we get to the very end. I just put some tape on the end to keep the leather from flailing all over, because I was getting very frustrated because it was curling, because the leather does come in it was all rolled up very nice like this, but it does have quite a bit of memory to it. So I will finish this and then I will show you where we're going to put it on the hat. What kind of content creator would I be if I didn't show you that I had to try this on, because I don't have any hair. So I thought, oh, maybe my wife would like a guy with more hair.
Turn this way.
Yeah.
It's a really bad rug.
It's a bad rug. Mom was we're gonna sew on the button to the top right now is what we're doing, but had to be full disclosure what's happening behind the scenes here. We've decided that we're going to put the bandolier across because it didn't look right on the bottom and it didn't look right here, so we're gonna put it across. So we're gonna start by sewing the button on the top. We're going to glue this on with just some hot glue because it doesn't need to. The bandolier is going to ultimately hold it on because I think we're going to end up replacing one of these rivets to rivet it through the hat to hold it on. But that's what we're doing right now. So we'll sew the button on, glue the cap on, and then we'll show you how we attach this to there. So now that my toupee has a nice and convenient button, we're now going to attach it to the hat itself. Get it on there like that. My wife and grandma are having way too much fun with how much that looked on me. But we're just going to provisionally glue it on there, because I think sewing would be a little unnecessary and we could risk puncturing it, like getting the hair kind of, I don't know, stippled down, and that wouldn't look nice. We want a nice soft hair look. Also, I guess you could make a cheap wig out of it, is what we've determined. So, now for the gluing. Okay, now that we have the furs glued onto the hat, and we left the back open so the hat is still adjustable. And then I'll show you, we trimmed the edges so it won't tickle your ears. Now that we have that on the head, we trimmed it up so it doesn't tickle the top of your ears, because that would be really annoying all day. And so that's what it's looking like so far. I think it looks pretty good. And then we've decided to do the traditional bandolier across, and I gave the bandolier a really cool, I trimmed it at the edges like Chewie's bandolier, so it comes down to a point. There is supposed to be another like circle greebly right here, but I didn't want to cut that because it would have been hard for me to put it on, and so I decided, and it's going to be kind of hidden in the hair, so we're going to use actually a rivet. We're going to rivet the two ends to the hat, and then we're going to take out one of these middle rivets. That's this one, I think, that's loose. And we're going to rivet this to the hat because it is a little on the hefty side, so we don't want it to fall off, and we thought the glue would just kind of eventually fall off. And, you know, hats are they take a lot of wear and tear with you wearing them, so we want it to be sturdy. But man, it looks like a really cool little mini bandolier. I'm very proud of my leather and aluminum work. I'm shocked. I had a big moment of doubt before I started filming. That's why I hesitated on filming if I was going to film or not. That's why you saw so many pieces put together before, because I wasn't sure if it was going to turn out or not. But I'm really liking the way it turned out. So now we'll get the bandolier on, and we'll show you. So we centered the rivet that we took out, and we put it through, you know how they have the air holes in the hat? So we put the rivet right through the air hole in the hat, and it actually off-centered it really nice. And Grandma here is actually a beautician, and she's giving my hat a nice trim. So we're trimming up the edges of the hat so it looks all nice and less like my crappy haircut that I gave my hat. So once we get that finished, we'll rivet the two ends on the side, and then she finished. It's pretty, I really like it. And this is what I feel every Chewbacca hat should look like, and not when they put his face on it. I'm not a fan. Sorry to anybody who likes those. Personally, it's not my style. This is more my style. I think it's more Chewy to me, and less like his eyes just don't look right on the top of the hat. So we've positioned this side, and we've got the rivet all the way through already. And then we've just positioned, and we like the final positioning of this side, so we're going to punch a hole all the way through. This one's it's a thicker cutter, so...
Is that where you want it?
Yeah, right there. So it'll get through all the layers, because we've got like...
Don't move it yet.
No, I'm not moving it.
Okay.
So we got all the layers, so we punched the hole through, and now we're going to put the rivet through.
Okay.
So we got these are longer rivets, same size 7mm head, longer end on it, stem. Put the cap on. Make sure we like it before it's still able to snap that top off and fix anything that we don't like right now. Or if we didn't like the hole, God forbid, we can move it if we wanted. This hole right here, we just went through the hole in the cap. So you see the hole on the other side? So that way we didn't have to punch a hole through the middle of the cap. And we just took out one of the rivets. I didn't get very nice, so it was easy. We just took a pliers and we cut it off. Needle nose pliers has that cut spot in the middle, so we just use that to cut off the wire, or the rivet. And now we'll provisionally fix it, and then it's done.
Fingers.
Okay, fingers
Everything
out.
straight.
Yes.
That gets good and crushed.
Yeah,
It's on there.
that looks nice. Now we'll do the other side. Okay. Yes. Now it's on there.
And it's not going nowhere.
And then I'm gonna hand do this one just because I don't want to damage the belt boxes that I put on so nicely. But it's on there. It's an official cap now. Where there's no going back now, as Haunted Mansion says. But now I have to groom my hat for the final pictures. Kind of dented it a little bit, but that's okay. Battle damage. Chewie's bandolier has seen many battles, and now mine has too. The battle is versus the hammer. But now we're gonna give Chewie. We'll groom him just like I groom my big Chewbacca. Give him a little, like, tuck his hair in all nice and pretty.
I'll leave it a little bit over on the side like this.
We'll give him a little shake. Shake too, that helps. Because when I am fixing my fur, when I get in my costume, I'd like to do
A Wookiee wiggle.
a Wookiee wiggle. That's a good way to put it. It's very much the Wookiee wiggle. But now it's done. We have an official, well, not an official, but Adventures of a Stormtrooper official Wookiee hat. I will say it was not the cheapest Wookiee hat to make, and it took 3 people's expertise to make it. Not the most DIY friendly hat, but I really like the way it turned out, and I think it looks amazing. I'll put the prices down below, but roughly I think the hat probably cost me around $60 in material, because the hat itself was like $24. The fur cost $8. The leather cost $16. I had the aluminum at home, but I would think it would be a little over, but somewhere between $10 and $15. And then the rivets, if I didn't have Mom had rivets, but if you had to buy rivets, that would be, somewhere in the $12 to $15 range to buy rivets, and you didn't have a rivet gun. So it's not the most cost-effective hat in the world to make if you don't already have some of these materials to make it with. But I really love the way it turned out, and I think it looks awesome, especially with I am Wookiee, hear me roar. I think it'll be a great addition to my troop. Every day when I wear Chewie, now I can have a hat. I have a hat for Phasma and my Stormtrooper, but I do not have one for Chewie, so now I do. I'm very excited. But thank you for watching as we go along on our DIY Chewbacca hat adventure.